Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So tons of numbers to discuss today, including November's numbers, so let's dive in. I looked back at November of 2020 as well. Normally I just do year over year, but the market's really feeling and the pricing is really feeling like we essentially have canceled out like 2 years of the real estate influx and we're correcting back to where we should be. And sort of these numbers support it. So I'll have a lot to talk about with November numbers, so bear with me. So in November of 2020, our average price was basically $1 million even, $1,244. In November of 2021, so last year, we were up like 30+% to $1,343,000. And this year, we are down to $1,057,000. So we are basically at where we were in November of 2020. And the fall of 2020 is really when we started to see things spike. Like that November would have been one of the first months that we saw our average pricing getting into that $1 million+ range. And it just kind of didn't stop from there. So we are down 21% since last November, which again is no surprise. I mean, we're down even more than that since the peak in March. So our prices really are coming backwards. And when I've been looking at kind of where things have sold, a lot of this stuff is selling where it was 2 years ago. So that's really a good benchmark. So instead of sellers thinking like, oh, my neighbor got this in 2022, they really need to be thinking about what their neighbor got in 2020, which is kind of sad really, but that's the reality of the correction that we're seeing and I think are going to continue to see into 2023. But overall, we are down pretty significantly year over year and pretty much in line with where we were 2 years ago. Of note, there was only 52 units that sold in November. Last year was 67. In 2020, it was 90. So the market certainly is softening and there's tons of stuff to buy. So only 52 is supporting the fact that things are still moving, but not at like a crazy rapid rate. And of note also, of those 52 that sold last month, only 8 of them were over 1.5 million. So all those lower ticket items are really, you know, they're moving, but they're really bringing our average price point down. And the higher ticket stuff just isn't selling. At least not as quickly, that's for sure. So those are our November numbers. They're not really surprising and they're in line with sort of what we've been seeing. But people just really need to realize that our pricing, we need to erase the last 2 years from our mind and just the sellers need to come to terms with that. So anyways, looking at our weekly numbers. So last week in Georgetown, we had 8 sales, in line exactly with what we've been seeing week to week, basically. We had 9 new listings, so some new stuff coming on the market. We did have 8 properties completely terminate and not relist last week. So that is going to not be great news for inventory levels. I mean, not great news for buyer inventory levels, but the sellers right now are actually, you know, going to be in a good spot as inventory continues to drop. We might see a little bit more demand, I guess. The buyers are still out, so it'll be interesting to see how the next 6 weeks play out. Acton had 1 sale and 5 new listings. Nothing happened in Glen Williams or Limehouse. The rural market saw 2 sales, both on $1 million and under, so the lower end of the rural market still seeing the sales and no new listings. So looking at active inventory, last week all of Halton Hills was at 148 active listings. We are down this week to 142 active listings. So we are definitely going in the direction that we would normally be going in December. Georgetown, this is interesting. Last week we went up a bit to 87, but we are down to 79 active listings this week. That's a very like low-ish number for Georgetown. If those kind of numbers keep up, we should, yes, our prices are going down, but with the inventory getting lower, it should mean that the market still continues to move along. And as a seller, it might be a bit busier than we've seen in the last 6 months, despite rates going up and, you know, prices coming down. It might be a bit busier for the next 6 to 8 weeks because inventory generally continues to drop right now. And it's just supply and demand. There's not a ton of demand, but when we have no supply, that'll be impacted. So now looking at our active price points, under 800,000 is down slightly from 12 to 11 active listings, still remains to be condo, apartment, and condo townhomes only. 800 to a million remain the same at 17. 1 to 1.5 million is down slightly from 32 active listings to 31. And 1.5 million is where we saw most of those properties come off the market. Because again, they're just not getting the numbers they want, and there's just a very small buying pool there. So 1.5 million plus went from 26 active listings down to 20 active listings. So a big change in that price point. Looking at Acton, Acton is up this week from 23 to 28 active listings. So inventory is going the opposite way as, you know, Halton Hills and the rest of the markets there. Glen Williams remained the same at 7, Limehouse remained the same at 4, and the rural market dropped from 27 down to 24 active listings. So lots of numbers to go over today, but I think that what's happening week to week is certainly on trend with what we would normally be seeing right now. Again, we're seeing a lot of stuff come off the market, which is skewing a lot of things. Normally we don't see so many properties just being like, nope, I'm done, I'm coming off. So that's really keeping the inventory numbers sitting lower than, you know, we have been the last 6 months. I'm not surprised with November numbers. It's in line with exactly what we've been feeling. I mean, we know prices are going down. The silver lining, I guess I didn't talk about it, is that we are up from last month. So last month, our average price was at that 966. It was under $1 million. And so this month in November, our average price came back over that $1 million mark, but we're really teetering there. And again, that's exactly where we were 2 years ago. So we just need to realign sellers' expectations because these numbers don't lie. So for December, I think we are going to continue to see sales not in such a rapid pace, but we'll still continue to see some buyers active. I think we're gonna see less and less listings, people coming off the market before Christmas, and that's really gonna drop our inventory levels. I am super, super interested where inventory is going to be sitting around that last week of December, first week of January in comparison to last year. So I will be back with those numbers next week to see where we're trending in December. Have a great week, everyone.